Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of TGIF. Imagine a scenario wherein you meet up with a client for a design workshop and agree on a set of features to be incorporated. Post this meeting, I come back to my work repo and ask it to sync with this particular meeting with the customer, understand the context, and incorporate the features in the product. Wouldn't it be magical if this could happen? Absolutely. GitHub today has the ability to connect with your work source tools, understand the context, and build these details. To share more on this, we have Divakar Kusuma from the GitHub team. Hi Divakar, welcome to TGI.
Thank you.
Getting started, Divakar, help us demystify the ability of GitHub to connect with work-related sources.
Yeah, let me take a step back, right? Like whenever I'm talking, I'm a technical partner manager, by the way, at GitHub. So whenever I talk with my partners and my solution architects, especially to understand what's happening and what is one feature that could elevate GitHub further, it is the context. Like the conversation that took place via email, like the chat conversation that happened over Teams, or the document that you're stored in the SharePoint, all that is missing. So currently, a developer typically has to extract that context manually, frame a long prompt, or put these artifacts within the repo to provide GitHub Copilot as a context. Recently, like Microsoft has open sourced one MCP called Work IQ MCP. What it does is like it connects with all these varied systems that I was mentioning about, pulls the context dynamically based on the need of yours.
Okay, so if I have to just kind of understand this deeper from a developer productivity perspective, my task becomes much more easier, and I just need to kind of point my repo to a particular source of information. It could be in any format, be it a conversational file or an email, and these tools have the ability to extract that and make it a part of the product specs.
Yeah, the Work IQ MCP simply works like you just have to authenticate so that you authorize the MCP to access the varied sources that you have access to as a user, right? So once you authorize it, it's magical. It automatically goes to the varied sources. You don't have to say, hey, pick document 1, pick document 2. You don't have to do that. It knows like what it is looking for based on the prompt that you're given, and then it will get the sources automatically.
This is helpful. So looking ahead in terms of the ability of GitHub to autonomously build solutions, how is that space shaping up?
One other theme I would say that is evolving is the specs. Like we have been talking about the spec-driven development, and the developers and the large partners, they were interested in more specific ways of building things. So we have talked about spec-driven development, which is open source, and we also talked about spec kit, which is based on spec-driven development. So more such tools are evolving, and it's all in the open. Like developers are building it, and some of them are like very, very simple with simple English. You don't need to be an engineer to build such tools.
Great. Let's get on with a quick demo of the GitHub integration with WorkIQ.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I had a conversation with Somnath Banerjee. He's a colleague of mine, and we were trying to have a conversation on what could be a good demonstration for the Work IQ MCP. So the text is out there in the Microsoft Teams, and I'm referring to that conversation without exactly pasting the conversation in the Copilot CLI. And then I'm giving a prompt saying that, hey, I had a conversation with my colleague. Why don't you build a to-do application based on that conversation? And just by looking at the prompt, it understands that, okay, maybe it has to use the Work IQ MCP. And then it invokes the required tools, and it gets the chat from that conversation, and it synthesizes that conversation to understand what could be the potential requirements, right? So it understands it needs 4 quadrants, it needs to have a dark mode toggle, etc. And then it creates a magic of its own by creating the sample application. Of course, the prompt can be a little bit more elaborate to indicate what kind of stack you want to use for the demo application. In this case, my prompt was very simple, so it assumed a certain tech stack. And then it built that application. And the output of which is what I'm showing here. Let's see how it goes. Okay, that's a simple one-pager, single-page application, and seems to have done a decent job. It is based on the 4 quadrants. Task Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, well annotated. Let's see if it actually works. Let me put some sample to-dos. Okay, let me repeat for 3 more maybe. Urgent and not important. And not urgent and not important. Okay, that's good enough. Let's see if the drag and drop works. Okay, that seems to be working as well. Alrighty. All right, okay, that goes. Let me see the checkbox works. All right, good. And the dark mode finally, fantastic. So, it's done a neat job.
Thanks, Divakar, for that insightful demo. Summarizing, we are today able to accelerate developer velocity by providing in tools that understand the context across your different touchpoints. Microsoft provides a portfolio of tools across Work IQ, Foundry IQ, as well as Fabric IQ that identify and integrate your knowledge sources into a common one. Thank you for watching. See you next week. Till then, bye-bye.